Welcome everyone to Meet the Authors Christmas Extravaganza here with Headline Books. We've had an exciting week of programming, and tonight we have the multi-award-winning author, Dr. Raymond Keller. So tonight is UFO night on our Christmas extravaganza. So Ray, take it away.
Thank you, Kathy. It's always a pleasure to be with you and the Headline Books audience to share my information about the mysteries of the planet Venus and my 5 books on the Venus Rising series. Venus Rising, A Concise History of the Second Planet, The Final Countdown, Rockets to Venus, Cosmic Ray's Excellent Venus Adventure, The Vast Venus Conspiracy, as well as Lady Columba Venus Revelations. And tonight I'll be sharing with you some information, a brief synopsis of all of these books, as well as an introduction to the Venusian message to the people of Earth. Okay. Yes, I began my interest in UFOs back in the mid-1960s, where I published the Flying Saucer Report with the help of the Cleveland Ufology Project. I became an active member of the group following an encounter, a sighting close-up of a disc-shaped object, some type of scout craft over a railroad trestle in Walton Hills, Ohio, and began to write local articles for the Bedford Times Register, my hometown newspaper. It's a suburb outside of Cleveland. Okay, let's go ahead and take a look at the most recent book that's come out. This is The Vast Venus Conspiracy. And this is book 4 in the series, where we look at all of the goings on in the space program of the United States, Japan, the Soviet Union, or the former Soviet Union, now Russia, as well as the European Union, and all the information that they gathered about Venus, as well as various contact cases with Venusians that have taken place specifically since the dawn of the space age and the atomic age. Okay. These are the first 4 books, and they've all won various awards, honorable mentions, runner-ups, and so forth. And they will be entered in some future book fairs before the year is out as well. These are the 2 young ladies that appeared at the UFO Club in Northwest Pennsylvania, just south of Erie, out in the woods. And that's Lady Columba on the left. And of course, she's the subject of book number 5, the Lady Columba Venus Revelations. So I have some documents from her with original artwork and her original writing, and it goes all the way back to the 1950s. She was one of the early contactees, but because she was a woman, she didn't get much attention. So now it will finally come to light, of which I'm very happy to be a part. Then, so all throughout all throughout the vast Venus conspiracy, we look at UFOs and the Venusian connection through many aspects, theosophy, secrecy, the cover-up, religion, and so forth. Okay, what I want to do this evening, though, is to present a brief overview of these books and the message of the Venusians that they have for us, that they're sharing with us. This summer was the second Venus conference at Mount Shasta, and I was invited to be a speaker with Omnek Onek, the ambassador from Venus, but neither of us could attend because of the cancel culture and the coronavirus and concerns that our families had. But a young lady that I know from Aurora, Ohio, outside of Cleveland, has written a book herself. This is Genesee Roy. She wrote a book called Easy Journey to 12 Planets, which I helped to edit some of the chapters and so forth in that book. But she serves as a seer or an instrument for channeling Gloria Lee, who is one of the characters that is featured prominently in Lady Columba Venus Revelations. And for Gloria Lee, she was an airline pilot as well as a hostess at the Los Angeles International Airport in the 1950s and the early 1960s. And she wrote a book herself that unfortunately didn't receive quite the attention that it deserved, called Why We Are Here, which explains the fundamental message of the Venusian contacts. So it was Genesee, Lady Jen, and myself who put together this brief summary of the Venusian message. So let's go ahead and go right to that. Okay. It's titled Into the Realm of Other Worlds. So we see here the planets in the solar system in their proper order, from the spaced out from the sun: Mercury, Venus, Earth, and the Moon, Mars, Jupiter, Saturn, Uranus, Neptune, and Pluto. Of course, the International Astronomical Union said Pluto wasn't a planet, but I say it is, because it has 5 moons itself, and it even has an atmosphere for half of a Plutonian year, when it's on the turn of its elliptic, where it's closer, a little bit closer to the sun. It even crosses over the orbit of Neptune. It has a strange, highly elliptical orbit. But we're going to look at, in these books, not just Venus, but the mysteries of the connection of the Confederation of planets with other planets in our solar system, as well as exoplanets beyond. So the Confederation of planets is 601 worlds in 51 solar systems. So all the connections of these other orbs and the inhabitants with the Venusians are explored in these books, especially the most recent two, the Vast Venus Conspiracy and the Lady Columba. And those are, of course, available through either Headline Books or Amazon.com. Okay. So what is the Venusian philosophy? This is what we look at here in all of these Venus books. And we are not human beings having a spiritual experience, but spiritual beings having a human experience. The way I interpret this is exactly how Dr. Frank Stranges of Van Nuys, California, the late Dr. Frank Stranges, who introduced the world to Valiant Thor and his crew. He said that we're here, advanced souls from other planets. We're here as a type of school. And these physical bodies that we wear are our spacesuit here while interacting in the Earth environment, in Earth conditions, and the planetary conditions on this sphere that we inhabit. So the correct way of life will manifest when we are in the higher consciousness, when we are in tune with who we are, and we realize just how special we are. So if you're into UFOs and paranormal phenomena and so forth, you can pretty much be sure that you may have that EQ, that extraterrestrial quotient. And when you read my books, you can explore that even further. In fact, the very first book on page 252 of Venus Rising has a test you can take to find out your extraterrestrial quotient by asking yourself various questions and grading yourself to see just how much of a starseed connection is really there. Okay, so your world will soon take its greatest cosmic evolutionary step. Well, one of my mentors was a woman named Annalise Guerin from Idaho, and she's written 9 books about metaphysical phenomena. She actually left the Earth in her physical body and never returned to go inhabit the planet Venus, and she is regarded as a translated being. So she would be like Enoch of old, who walked on the earth and then was no more, because she never tasted of physical death. She transcended physical death and became an immortal being on the planet Venus. So one of these objectives in these books is to help you to realize your potential, to unlock the latent powers that are within you, to believe in yourself, to help you believe in yourself, because we can't be of help to others. We can't be mentors. We can't be avatars. We can't be effective teachers unless we've taken care of ourselves first. And besides the physical and the mental aspects of living on Earth, there's also the spiritual aspects. So this involves getting in tune with the Christ consciousness or the universal consciousness. Some call it the higher self. And when you read these Venus books, you'll get a better idea of what I'm referring to. So the Venusians want us to know that they're with us. They're with you in the crisis, which is to come. We've already seen some of the prophecies in the book of Revelation, such as the pandemics and so forth. So some of these seals are starting to be open. So we are coming into time of tribulation, economic and political gyrations and so forth. And we look back into history and we see that the Sufi prophet, like Rumi, he said that there were always 7,000 angels on the earth at any one time. Well, you can be sure that as we enter this technological age, beginning in the late 1940s with atomic testing and then later nuclear testing and the advent of the space age and late 1950s and the early 1960s, and then all the political disruptions and so forth that's on the earth now, that the Venusian presence has been significantly augmented. So there are many scriptures and prophecies in the Bible and other books testifying that as we come to these latter days, there will be angels that attend us. They were sent here specifically to help and guide us transition our planet into a new age. So many of our contacts have suffered ridicule, persecution, or even martyrdom in the past. Many of the contactees in the 1950s faced terrible criticism, and but now they're being vindicated. Their message is being vindicated. Recent discoveries of water on the moon. George Adamski wrote about that in his 3 books about flying saucers from Venus and so forth. Howard Menger and others. Gloria Lee, Lady Columba, and so forth. And everything that they wrote is being proven and vindicated now. Also, the discovery of phosphenes in the Venusian atmosphere, indicative of a more complex ecosystem, because no life form can exist just by itself. So I'm glad to see that that these developments are coming to light, even though some will still poo-poo these ideas and put the woo-woo effect on them, but really it's not hard to imagine that we're not the only ones in this vast universe. Okay, so we need to follow these 5 steps to give ourselves a karmic cleansing. Annalise Guerin said that we should be grateful for everything. She said that was the key to, being in the world, not being of it. And acting with love, demonstrating random acts of kindness, checking our motivations, making sure we're coming from a place of love for self and others, watching our attitude, because negative thoughts do create angry energy that can come back directed at you. Unfortunately, we've seen an intensification of anger among people during this heated political debates that are going on, and we have to keep in mind that if we focus on these things, we're going to drag ourselves and everyone else down. I see that families, instead of enjoying Thanksgiving and get-togethers when they can have them, are getting into all kinds of needless debates and so forth. So as far as the political situation, it's probably best to just keep your mind on goodly things, good thoughts, and kind of put them out of mind, because I put the politicians out of mind. I consider it mind over matter. I don't mind because they don't matter. And then be forgiving. It can be the hardest thing to do, but the most important in creating good karma and moving forward. So when you see the saucers in your skies, be not afraid. UFOs have been seen in our skies since the beginnings of recorded history, and anybody that watches Ancient Aliens can see plenty of evidence for that in the historic record. If they were going to do something harmful to us, they would have done it a long time ago. So we know that their intentions are good. And then banish fear, put on the mind of Christ. This is referring to the higher consciousness, as the Apostle Paul wrote to the Philippians, let this mind be in you, which was also in Christ Jesus. And that was also the message of Dr. Frank Edward, or Dr. Frank Stranges, when he was with us here into the early 2000s. So love shall be made manifest all over the earth. Venus is the planet of love, and the Venusians do manifest a loving presence here on the earth. So please check out all of my Venus Rising series, and meditate on these things, study these things, and note that as it says in Hebrews chapter 13, verse 2, that we should always be kind to one another, for know ye not that ye entertain angels unawares. And thank you very much for your kind attention today. And I hope that when this coronavirus is over, that I'll have the opportunity to get back out onto the book tour and to meet you all in person.
Thank you, Raymond. We do have a couple questions.
Okay.
Someone has asked if you have had a UFO experience yourself.
Oh, yes. Yes, several. My very first one was in my youth, when I was just 13 years old. And this was like a Venusian scout craft. In fact, it got written up in the National Enquirer. And let me see if I can find that article here real quick, and I'll post it up. I'll post it up here. Yeah, let's see. Okay. Yeah. And we want
I remember you telling me about that. It
yes.
would be fun if you could.
Yes, it was over 50 years ago, and I think yeah, let's see, I have it right here in the book, and I'll just bring that up. There we go. This is in the final countdown, Rockets to Venus. And there's a whole file about myself in the Gray Barker collection in the Waldemar House, adjacent to the Harrison County Library here in West Virginia. This is right out of Gray Barker's own file. That's me, and that's me over there on the left.
That's amazing.
This is the type of flying saucer that my friend and I had sighted. So that was the first of many occasions with flying saucers, as well as flying saucer occupants later on.
I know that I think you mentioned that the government has released some UFO files that people have been waiting on, and that they were connected to Venus.
Oh, yeah, oh yes. Even as far back as 1948, on the 25th of March, an object, a saucer, crashed at AZTEC, New Mexico, And there's brand new information that's never been released before. It's in this book also, the rockets to Venus. And the government identified that it was connected, connected with the planet Venus. So there's all kinds of information out there. And we have to keep in mind that, you know, for some people, they poo-poo the idea, but on the other hand, the humanoid Venusians are actually visitors from yet another solar system called Tau Ceti. They come from a planet originally called Norca. And it's believed that we ourselves here on Earth may be a strain of many different alien species. We may be a hybrid even here on Earth. And all these ideas are explored in these books.
Well, it kind of takes us back to ancient aliens. It is hard to imagine how people so long ago could achieve the monumental buildings and things that they have done centuries ago. So I know that's one of the theories too. So that falls right in with what you just said.
Oh yes, Kathy. And speaking of buildings and structures, in the Lady Columba book, I have photographs in there from Russia, from the Russian space program and the former Soviet Union, and others of structures on Phobos, the moon of Mars, where there's a monolith, and some comments and analysis there by American astronauts who believe that it is an alien structure of spires on the moon, and lakes and domes and so forth, or frozen lakes and domes on the moon, and everything. This is a drawing from Russia about the space program and research going on there, and their plans to colonize the moon. That's Lady Asteria, the commander of the ISIS mothership, and all kind of amazing stuff in here. So now this is Lady Columba Venus Revelations, and thank you to Headline Books for the beautiful artwork and the cover there. You see the planet, all the different planets and star field in the background, and then the goddess Venus here, and then and the beautiful Lady Columba here on the left.
Well, designing your covers is always a pleasure. Your content is so amazing. I don't know of many books that have compiled the amount of information that you have. And I know when we first met, the thing that struck me about Venus Rising was how you drew our past, meaning advertising, products that are affected by UFOs. And, you know, it's so gradual that it gets into our society and our everyday living, and you don't even realize it.
Oh yes, looking at the various elements of music, Hollywood, pop culture, the permeation of ufology into all these aspects is really amazing. And it's not just in our time, but it goes back decade after decade, deep into the past. For example, in World War II, there were mysterious fires and lights that were seen, disc-shaped objects and so forth that were pursuing planes of both the Allied and the Axis. They called them Foo Fighters or Swedish ghost rockets. And before that, and there were airships in the 1890s and early 1900s And there were flying locomotives that were seen over the plains by American Indians, and just all kind of amazing things. Flying shields in the Roman Empire, and gods and goddesses visiting Earth, sky gods, and so it's nothing new under the sun, as they say.
Well, and it certainly paves the way for some excellent fiction too, doesn't it?
Oh yes. Oh, by the way, since it is Christmas, I do have some Christmas artwork from the 50s and 60s from a friend of George Adamski that I could share here. It's in color too. But
Okay.
it'll just take one second to get it.
Okay. While we're waiting for Ray, I'd like to thank all of you for joining us on Facebook. If you have any questions for Raymond, please type them in the comment section. You'll see links there to Ray's current books, and they are available through Headline Books. You can get an autographed book there. We are also going to have additional programming this week, starting tomorrow morning, or actually tomorrow afternoon, with children's book author, and we will have stage and film star David Selby on at 4 o'clock tomorrow afternoon. So I hope you'll join us. And Ray, you want to share your art there?
Oh yes. Well, here's something I just clipped out of the paper the other day that I thought was really funny. This was in the Dominion Post, and it's after they discovered water on the moon, and commercial companies went there to bottle it and sell it. So I put in this future book, I added this, and I put cultural imperialism department. But yes, this is some information from the Cosmic newsletter of, this was by Charlotte Blob. She was also in some movies as kind of like a hippie girl in the 1960s, but she was a friend of George Adamski, and you see this is from her files. There's George Adamski's signature right there. And she moved to Wisconsin, where she started a UFO club, specializing in George Adamski and his message. This is some of her art for the original newsletters before they went for publication, and she colored them in. This was a Christmas issue. You see Lady Orda there. Some Venusian scout ships. And a message from George Adamski. And he said, "Let us be friendly. Let us recognize and welcome the men and women from other worlds. They are here among us. Let us be wise enough to learn from those who can teach us much, who will be our friends if we will but let them." And here's another one. I like this particular drawing. Here's planetary ascension. You see the motherships, and then she drew this magnetic beam. She put in here magnetic beam, and it has people in a valley down in California, and they're being levitated up into the ship. And then she has three scriptures from the Bible. This was a Christmas issue, and it's John chapter 14. And it says, "And when I go and prepare a place for you, I will come again and will take you to myself, that where I am, you may be also." And then Matthew chapter 24, "Then will appear the Son of Man in the heavens, and they will see the Son of Man coming on the clouds of heaven with power and great glory." And Revelation chapter 21, "And I saw the holy city, the new Jerusalem, descending out of heaven, having the glory of God. And her light was like unto a stone most precious, even like jasper stone, clear as crystal. And the city had no need of the sun, neither the moon to shine in it, for the glory of God Almighty and the Lamb is the light thereof." And so that's why she put the motherships.
Thank you for sharing that with us.
Oh, you're quite welcome. I do get lots of material from followers of these contactees who are deceased. I guess I'm the last, or probably among the last, the last of them. But I'm proud to be able to.
I think there are people following in your footsteps. There's still a lot to discover. And Raymond, I know that you do a lot of speaking engagements. I know with COVID-19, that's not been possible, but how can people get in touch with you if they would like to have you do a virtual or even an in-person event?
Oh, yes. They can just write me at rkeller number 1. That's just the number 1, rkeller1 at mix.wvu.edu. And I will be very happy to answer them within one or 2 days. And I will be delighted. I've already got a couple of invitations to go up to Canada as soon as this is all over. There's a group up there that they love my books, and they invited me up there to inaugurate field location number 2.
Fantastic. That's great.
We're going to have a big sky watch and call down the saucers. Is this in Northern Ontario?
Well, good luck with that. And also, if people can also get in touch with Dr. Keller through headlinebooks.com. You can go to our website, get the email addresses there. That's all the questions we have for tonight, Ray, and I want to thank you so much for participating in our Christmas extravaganza.
Oh, you're quite welcome. It's always a pleasure to be with you and all the good people at Headline Books.
Well, thank you very much. And I will remind people that this video will be on our Facebook page. You can view it later, or if you missed the beginning, you can watch it there. And we also have a YouTube channel, and all the Christmas extravaganza videos from this week will start being posted there December 1st. So you can watch them again, or if you've missed some, you can pick them up there. Thank you very much to everyone on Facebook and to you, Raymond, and I hope to see you again soon.
Thank you, Kathy, and thank you, dear friends everywhere.